Bran donned his war cloak and, with Bull's aid, his weapons and armor. "You look fearsome indeed," Bull noted. "It looked like a giant black turkey, with a very sharp beak and eyes of cold stone, not to mention talons of steel. There you go. Now walk tall." "Thank you, Bull." Bull shrugged. "I want a cloak like this, but made of bull hide, with great big auric horns." Bran grinned. "You are welcome to wear one if you can make it." Bull smiled and shook his head. "Only shaman can make these cloaks. They are special." "Are they?" Bran certainly felt special, though it was not the pleasant kind of special. "They are imbued with power, Bran," the shaman. "The shaman cast spells as they make these cloaks." "Of course they do." "Do you not believe in the power of the shaman?" "I don't believe in magic, Bull." Bull grinned. "You will, I'm sure." The camp had been struck, and a small force of trustworthy vassals had taken the supplies west. They would meet again, certainly. Bran had to lure the Uttles deep into the tundra. That was his task. Setafima would then come at them from behind, Bran hoped. A scout came galloping across to Bran. "They're here," he said. Bran nodded. "Mount up!" Everyone obeyed. Bran had long ago proven himself to them. There was not one war chief or warrior who would not now consider Bran one of them. "Bull," Bran asked as the bull moved his horse next to his, "where are your warriors? I do not see anyone except your standard bearer." Bull grinned. "Do you remember the story I told you of the first bull, long ago chief of the Auric clan?" "Vaguely." Bran's eyes widened. "They're buried in the snow?" Bull grinned. "Want to spook a horse? Have ghosts jump up from the ground. They will lose many more horses today." "Bull, if you weren't a man, I would kiss you." Bull grinned. "You'd have to fight my wife for the privilege." "I could take her," Bran said with a cheeky grin. "You say that now, but wait until you meet her. I might be as big as a bull, but she is as strong as an ox. You wouldn't stand a chance." "Should make for an interesting fight." Bull laughed, the sound ringing clear through the crisp spring air as the first of the Uttle army crested the small hill yards away from the Sierran troops. A distantly shouted command was uttered, and the enemy troops began to form up. It was spectacular to behold. 3 standard bearers, each carrying a tall flagpole crested with a golden statue of an eagle, marched forward and stood in an evenly spaced line across the entire length of the enemy army. The flags that fluttered overhead were dyed yellow, with an orange eagle in each. The standard bearers thrust them into the ground, thus marking the line that they now considered Ottoman territory. Behind that line, tightly packed rows of horsemen gathered, each in perfect rows, and separated into regiments, each carrying their own standard. The colors remained the same, orange and yellow, but the size and shape of the flags, as well as the arrangement of the colors, varied. By comparison, the Sierran army was in shambles. Each clan had a standard, though it was not dyed in woven fabric, but ochre-painted skins. Sometimes a simple strip of their totem animal's pelt or its stuffed tail, as in the case of the White Fox clan, served. The armor of the Sierrans did not glitter as did the armor of the Uttles, covered in leather and fur as it was. Horsemen formed in clan groups, but there were no rows and no columns, just circles of groups divided by wide channels. Archers and swordsmen were not divided. There was absolutely no order whatsoever. "Well now," the guildmaster said with a small smile as he observed the small army waiting before him, "this should be easy. Let's go treat with them, shall we?" He wasn't speaking to anyone in particular, and no one answered him. He nudged his horse and rode forward to the center of what was soon to become the battlefield, with a small group of his personal guard. "I have an idea for our next engagement," Bran said to Bull. "Remind me to tell you after this one, but for now, start laughing, and get the others to as well." "Laugh, Crow?" "Yes, Bull. Start laughing." Bull did. He turned his horse around and faced the warriors, and began to laugh, winking at them as he did so. They caught on immediately, and, not knowing how it would help, they too began to laugh. What began as a fine display of acting soon turned into genuine laughter, aided by the maddening effect of adrenaline. Chuckling himself, Bran nudged his horse forward. Bran spared a glance for the highly disciplined soldiers of the desert as they stood at the crest of a small hill. They shuffled uncomfortably, turning to look at their comrades, no doubt wondering at the reason for the Sierrans' glee, or even at their sanity. "Greetings," the Ottoman commander said to Bran and Bull in passable Tuan once they had stopped a few feet before him. The 2 Sierran warriors were on horses that loomed larger than Mitsusa thought possible, towering over his own desert horse like great mountains of muscle and bone. He did not like it. The pair were grinning like lunatics, and Bran could tell it was making the commander nervous. "Hi," Bran said, and Bull had to cough to hide his amusement. Bran would not treat seriously with this man. The commander of the Ottles frowned. "Are you the commander of this army?" he asked, making sure to add as much dripping derision as possible when he uttered the word army. "No," Bran said with a smile. He offered no more. The longer he drew out these talks, the colder the army he was facing would become. He was certain there was no room in their armor for furs or wools, and steel gets very cold, very, very fast. "Then it is the Winter Wolf. I will treat with her." "You can't." "Why not? Where is she? Why is she not with her army?" "Oh, she's with her army. Look down at your mount's feet, desert man. There is the Winter Wolf. Look up at the sky, so clear and blue and cool. That is the Winter Wolf. Look around you at the snows that will not disappear until the summer, and the grass is beginning to break through that snow, at the rocks that show through, at the men at my back. And at the men at my back. That is the Winter Wolf. And she doesn't much like you. Thus, as her representative, it is my task to tell you to go home, since you haven't listened to her thus far." Bull laughed, and the Otto commander grew angry. "I will speak to the Marshal of the Tundra, or to no one," he snapped. Blinking beneath his beaked hood, Bran grinned. It was truly a grim sight. "You will speak to me, or no one. You will turn around, you will return home, and you will never come to the tundra again. In return, you shall receive safe passage all the way to the desert sands, with nary a snowstorm, or even an encounter with a bear. These are the tundra's terms." The Ottolan commander looked at Bran through slitted eyes. "You don't honestly think that your measly band of men can outmatch my entire army, do you? You are hopelessly outnumbered, and clearly outmatched." Bran's grin widened. "Try us, desert man," he growled. "You are in the tundra now, and nothing is as it seems." "So be it. Take a look around, you insolent, overgrown sand pigeon. This will be your last day in this frozen wasteland." "Be nice," Bran chided easily. "The tundra is sensitive." The Ottolan commander shook his head and glared at Bran before turning his horse and trying to trot back to the Ottolan-controlled territory. Bran observed mildly as his dainty horse slipped twice and stumbled once on the short journey up the slope, before he turned his horse and trotted easily back to his men, who had stopped laughing. "I need you to laugh really hard, like I just told you something about Sandboy over there," Bran informed his warriors. They acquiesced, letting a small burst of raucous laughter loose in the chill air. Bran was certain the Ottolan army could hear him, for the commander whipped around and stared at Bran. Bran could only smile back as many in the ranks took a collective step backwards. "All right," Bran said, unsheathing his powder blue sword. "A charging line of horses will have many weak points. Some horses are faster and so on. You will wait for my command before you ride forward to meet them. Hold your ground until then. I have a feeling many a horse will break its legs on the run down the hill. Let's let them." Bran raised his sword and, tilting his head up to the sky, howled. His howling had improved. The other warriors unsheathed their weapons and joined in the chorus of eerie howls. "They are all insane," one of the guards whispered to the guildmaster. "They're just trying to scare us," he replied. "It's strategy and nothing more. Mark my words." The guardsman nodded, but did not look convinced. "It's that or they know something we don't," another whispered to the first guardsman. The latter nodded, but kept his peace. No one wanted to become the next Bradder de Soul. "Send the wings in first. They're small. We'll encompass them easily," the guildmaster told his lieutenant. The lieutenant nodded and shouted the command. In an instant, the Ottles came thundering down the slope, forming a deep crescent as they did. And I'm going to stop there.